Welcome to another edition of Be the Change Georgia, where we amplify the voices of the inspiring business leaders surrounding the B Corp and social impact movements across the Southeast to help you learn how to build your legacy at the intersection of people, planet, purpose, and profit. Today, there are more than 8,000 B Corps in over 80 countries and 180 different industries, unified by one common goal: transforming the global economy to benefit all people, communities, and the planet. If you want to learn how to plug into our purpose-driven business community alongside the inspiring leaders we feature on this show, check us out at belocalgeorgia.com or on Instagram or Facebook at belocalgeorgia, and we'll hope to meet you at our next event. Today you'll learn from Adria Marshall, founder and CEO of EcoSlay, a Georgia-based, Black women-owned haircare company with a dedicated fan base and a clear commitment to doing good. What started as a side hustle mixing natural ingredients in her kitchen while working as a software developer has grown into a thriving business with sustainability and social impact at its core. In this episode, Adria shares her unexpected founder journey, how she defines success on her own terms, and the intentional choices that led EcoSlay to become a certified B Corporation. For anyone building, supporting, or simply curious about values-aligned businesses, this episode is for you. Let's dive in. Adria Marshall, welcome to Be the Change Georgia. Excited to finally have you on.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. It took you long enough.
She's only 63 episodes in. Thanks for the invite. No, I'm excited. Even just obviously we work together on your B Corp certification in my day job, and but getting to know you and getting the story. But even as we got ready to record this, I realized that I had never even heard the founder's story and this crazy transition from software development to like evil science genius in a laboratory in your basement, concocting different chemical formulas. So right. I'll just shut up there and go tell us about that and how you got into from software development to not only hair care products and EcoSlay, but also the entrepreneurship, world of entrepreneurship.
Yeah, it's been crazy. So I've been dragged along this journey. It's been a lot of fun, but it was totally unintentional. So I went to the University of Alabama, Roll Tide. I'm so sorry.
Can't be perfect.
College of Engineering. I was a computer science major. So I was a software developer, just like my mom was a software developer for IBM. I fought it for a while, but ended up doing it anyways. And when I went to college, that's when I noticed that I had curls up under here because my hair was relaxed to that point, because that's just what you do. You're a Black girl in Alabama, your hair is relaxed. And then I couldn't afford to keep up the touch-ups. And so instead of 4 to 6 weeks, it's 6 to 8 weeks, 8 to 12 weeks. And then you start to see the curls and you start to get fascinated. And then especially being an engineering major, we love to solve problems. That's what we do. So just wondering what we can do with that. And I can save money, hopefully, by not having to relax. And then I hear that's not great for you. So all of those things start happening at the same time. But it wasn't easy, especially in the 90s. Don't want to date myself, but because there weren't a lot of hair products for my type of hair then, and most women I knew who looked like me will wear their hair in a relaxed state, or maybe in locks or a jerry curl or a fro, but nothing where they're rocking their curls. So just years and years and years of trial and error, no thought of a hair company or anything like that, just years of trial and error. And then fast forward, I'm working at a software development company, and I'm a single mom and trying to save money, and I'm going back and forth between relaxers and different hairstyles, trying to figure this out while navigating all the things. And long story short, I end up on YouTube, probably Instagram back then as well, and just forming the community with girls like me who were just trying to figure out their curls. In the meantime, products are expensive. Hair care products are expensive, especially when you're a single mom on a budget. They're super expensive. And I'm at Sephora Ulta, Target, like every day trying to figure this out. And that's when I learned that if you turn around the jar, you can see what's actually inside of the products. And that was a game changer for me because as an engineer, I'm like, well, wait a minute, let me not buy something with this ingredient because we saw how that turned out, right? And then because I'm a gardener as well, my mom was a gardener and my grandfather was a gardener. When I saw that the products that contain flaxseed, marshmallow root, the slippery elms, oils, and things like that worked better than the products with all the crap in it, it was like eye opening because not only are they good for you, which just makes my heart sing, but I can go to my DeKalb. I can have another excuse to go to my DeKalb farmers market and pick up some stuff, right? Like I needed another excuse to go there. It's like Disneyland, right? So I just started going there and picking up stuff, watching YouTube videos of girls boiling flaxseed and doing this and the other. Like I can do this too, and it's like a nice break as well from being a software developer and a mom at night. Mixing your things up. And again, never thought of forming my own company. And I wasn't, so through the years, I went from being a developer to a development manager and then saw that the guys on my team, they were literally guys. I was the only Black female in my development shop, and they don't have kids. They're single, they're living their best life, right? And I have to get home in a decent time. And I'm becoming a lot more structured, being a single mom, keeping a child on schedule. I'm like, these guys are gonna mess me up, with everything I'm working towards here. So I start managing them, then find out there's a such thing as a project manager, and I become certified and all that kind of stuff. So I eventually leave that company, go to MailChimp, which is amazing because they love small businesses. Like they pour into their clients, but also a lot of the staff at MailChimp, they have their own side hustle as well. So they're super supportive. So it was a fantastic environment there. So I have a shop. And I like have this goal in the back of my head, like maybe one day I'm gonna have like a real company. I'm like making 7 sales a month at this point, like nothing to write home about. Like no one knows about this company, right? And I mostly have the company because I'm a former developer, and devs will try to BS you on how long things will take to code. So I'm like, no, 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 no. Like when they give me their estimates, how long to put this feature, I'm like, no, because it can't take you 3 weeks because it took me 2 days to do it on my own shop. So I have my own stores. So I can kind of check them to see how long it's really going to take. And of course, I'm working my stuff in the background, whatever. So all that being said, I met someone on YouTube, has hair like me. I'm at home mixing these products, and I come up with something. I'm like, I think you're going to love this too. And they're not influencers then. They're just people on YouTube who are just trying to figure stuff out. So I have it up on my shop, not thinking anything of it. Of course, I announced it on Instagram. I may have got a couple of sales, like nothing major. And I sent it to her and don't hear anything back for weeks. I might think anything of it anyways. I go on break at work because I have to save all my vacation time. That's what you do in corporate America. So I can have like this long break with my kids over the holidays. So on December 15th, the orders should start coming in out of nowhere. I don't know what's going on. And that's me, go from no orders. I'm sure I'm not the only entrepreneur that it was like I was a solopreneur, but referred to myself in third person.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's what we do to act like we have a team when it's just us doing everything. So go from 0 orders to 1,000 orders in 15 days, and it's like no sign of stopping. So that's how it happened. And what was so great, there's so many good things about it. Number one, it didn't give me a chance to say no because it just happened so fast. So that was exciting because if I had a chance to really sit down and think about like, what the hell are you doing? But like the orders are in, like I have the money, what am I going to do? Let me get the girlies their products, and it just kept snowballing. So I go back to work on January 3rd and I sit my boss down and I show him the graph because I'm a project manager is what we do is we graph things. I show him the graph And like, if these orders keep coming in at this rate, I'm gonna be quitting in March. And he was super supportive. My director, who was a friend of mine, she actually brought me to Mailchimp, so she was super supportive. And the company as a whole was very supportive. One of the founders took me up under his wings, and it was just an amazing, amazing story. So sure enough, in March, I was able to go full time, and they were gracious enough where they just let me part time my way and step my hours down until my hours at EcoSlay until the money matched up as much as possible,
Hmm.
and then we called it quits. So I only had to be nervous. So I actually quit in August of that year, and I would say I was nervous about making ends meet till about December or so, but nothing crazy.
That's nuts.
There you go. That is my founder story. And what is so great is that because I wasn't really trying to start a business for real, that when I set my values at the beginning, they were true values. It wasn't under the pressure of sales and all of that. It was like, what do I really care about? I really care about using great ingredients. I really care about teaching people why they should use great ingredients and helping them figure out why their hair reacts to something better than the other. I really care about community, and I really care about sustainability. And so those values were built into the company at the very beginning before being sustainable was a trend and being plant-based was a trend and all of that good stuff.
Well, and that's and I mean, I have a lot of insights into because I obviously we had to kind of like open the doors and peel back everything to for the B impact assessment to
Yes.
get you to the point where we can certify as a B Corp. And yeah, I mean, even as we got into it, like some of the intentionality with which you've built this comes back to those values, but like everything from like truly living well, like it's local, it's organic, like I mean it's all the intersections of like local economic development,
Mhm.
community development, like stakeholder engagement. So can you talk a little bit about the intentionality as you like, because now we're at this point where we start to grow, and I think a lot of founders hit that like, how serious am I about these values when orders are flying at me and I have to get things done, and I could, an hour I'm looking at my margins and like, oh boy, if I could just kind of maybe tweak my supply chain a little bit, I can get this a little bit cheaper somewhere else. So
Yep.
talk about how you were able to maintain that intentionality as you grew.
Man, I'm gonna tell you, it boils down to one thing, and is that I function a lot better when I can sleep good at night. That's what it boils down to be honest. I've had months where the revenue numbers were crazy, but you're not quite sure about why you're making this decision. Is he the right hire? Blah blah blah. Like all those things can kind of eat at you and keep you up at night. But when your values are good ingredients, integrity, your ingredients, teaching people about their hair and being kind to each other and good to the environment, that's such good stuff. That's not questionable stuff. And you don't have to make really weird decisions about that. It makes it really easy. And so I love being true to my values because it makes it really easy about what things I should say yes to and things I should say no to. And I think that's why I am a big believer in the law of attraction and all that woo woo stuff. But I really believe that when you are clear on what your vision is and what your vision board is and your goals are, I don't think, I don't know if I believe as far as those opportunities come towards you more, but I believe that they're really clear at that point. And so I'm like tuning in to things that line up with my vision and kind of tuning out to all of that noise. So when throughout the noise, because I had already bought the domain EcoSlay Farms years ago. Like I knew this is what I wanted to do and was nowhere near to this happening. But when the opportunity came, I was like, yes, this is what we say yes to. Like right here, this is what we say yes to.
Yeah, I 100% agree too. I've met some amazing people that have joined me, like a Casey Stokes, like it was volunteering um, at Umi's community garden. Then we just get to talking, and it was like, oh, she was like, "What's the B Corp thing? I see your shirt." She's like, "I love B Corps." I was like, "Oh, you want to talk about B Corps?" But like the weird way of when you're doing the right thing, people present themselves, opportunities present themselves, and your gut just goes, "This is right," and I'm going to run
Yes.
with it.
And that's the good thing about it because, and like I said, it comes back to being able, like I sleep like a baby every single night. Nothing keeps me up because, I mean, my team is volunteering tomorrow at Atlanta Mission. I mean, what there is nothing better. There is nothing better than pausing on making products and shipping products, and your team is off to have lunch and go to the donation center at Atlanta Mission. Like that is a good day. I don't care if we didn't have any sales that day. I don't care if anything got shipped out that day. We have a team member who we hired from Atlanta Mission who was excited to welcome us at Atlanta Mission to help her sort clothes for her roommates. It doesn't get better than that. It doesn't get better than that.
So, and we've talked before too. You have crazy, not crazy, they're amazingly crazy, awesomely crazy, whatever you want to describe them as. But like, you look at, we talk in the marketing world about like conversions, and like,
Mhm.
did they open the newsletter? Did they click on the link? And then did they put something in the cart? Did they abandon the cart? Da, da, da. But like, you've created your own metrics where like, I think you said to me, anything can be a conversion. So you've
Yeah.
set up, and we talk about KPIs, especially as we go through this, like, what are your impact KPIs? But long before you met me or the B impact assessment or B Corp world, you were creating your own like conversion metrics and metrics of success for things that had nothing to do. Well, we could argue that they do, but had nothing to do with revenue and profit
Yeah.
margin and sales and traditional conversions. So tell our listeners about that, because I think that's a really cool opportunity that a lot of business owners miss.
Yeah, that was eye opening. So I first heard that concept. I love Mailchimp so much. I'm their best former employee.
Shout out Mailchimp if you got my
Shout out to
newsletter. Yes,
Mailchimp.
if you got my newsletter yesterday.
Good stuff. So I remember like two things they taught me was that anything can be a conversion. Anything can be a conversion, and the concept of the parts bin, which means that just because an idea isn't good right now doesn't mean it won't be a good idea later. So I put a lot of stuff in the parts bin and pull it out like, oh, and that kind of goes along with that intentionality, law of attraction type of thing. Like just because it's not right now doesn't mean it won't be good later. So yeah, they taught me like anything can be conversion. It doesn't be a sale. A conversion can be the number of pouches that you recycle each month. A conversion can be the number of volunteer activities that you do. It can be the number of people that you hire from an underserved area or community. So you can define what success looks like for your company, which again makes you all. And it's just such a life hack and a business hack. I go to bed each night as a winner. Like I killed it again, husband. How I am so amazing. Like I go to bed every night feeling like I am a winner because I set my own goals that line up in my favor. And it's brilliant and it's fantastic. Now that doesn't mean that revenue doesn't count. Like revenue is something that we do track. But I will tell you, when I look at the things that we track, like we track our ad ROI, we track our revenue, we track our profit, we track now we spend in shipping, all the blah 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
But the things that we track more than that, we track the number of customers who are in Slay Nation. We have a secret club of customers. They don't even know that they're in the secret club, right? And when we get a customer that sends us a cool email like, hey, I think one of your discount codes got out, right? Or hey, your sale is going on, but they're talking about it in this forum and I don't know about those are the customers. We're like tag them with Slay Nation. We should start sending them cups and mugs and t-shirts instead of just loving on them. So we track that. And so we choose our own success metrics, and the metrics that we have: volunteer hours, pouches we send back for recycling, products that we send to Project Beauty Share. Whenever a customer sends products back to us and we can't sell it again for whatever reason, we don't throw those away. We donate those to a women's shelter through Project Beauty Share. So we track that. So we track so many more metrics that are not the traditional success metrics of a company. And that way, I always go to bed as a winner. Every time I am killing this.
It's funny because I say the same thing all the time about when, and Chad, who's been on the podcast, and I do these trash walks all the time. And, beyond it just being this therapeutic mindfulness, whatever, silence of you and the trash. And there's the element of it, no matter what I do, I won that day. There's an instant
Right.
gratification of there's 3 bags lined up and I'm emailing the county to come pick them up. And that road I drive down every day now doesn't have trash for 12 to 14 hours. But there is something to be said about that, where no matter what happened, and if the business didn't have a great day or whatever, there's the instant win of knowing that your ripples add up. But you're right, you have to make sure that obviously we can't go out of business doing good, but if we can figure out, and you're making the business case for that, and it's not necessarily like, how do I quantify the return on investment from sending my team to the mission tomorrow, but inherently you found that it's there.
Come on. I mean, if you have a team together, and that's just how it works, right? You have a team that is serving together, all that good energy. You just know that they're going to come back the next day and they're going to kill it at work. And they're going to work together better from things that they found out about each other as they're driving to there, right? I mean, it's just going to be a great thing.
Yeah, no, those are the well, and I mean, people stick, and you figure out ways to keep great talent around, develop great talent, and obviously, good things are going to come.
Good things are going to come. And so what's great now is very rewarding to see the times catching up with our values, right? So now people are more concerned with sustainability, are more concerned with plant-based things, are more concerned with community. And so it helps to confirm that we made the right decisions, and puts a little win in ourselves to keep those things going.
Yeah, and without going there, I'll just say you can't legislate our values. Um, we can continue to shop and do business with and support organizations that we would like to.
There you go.
So, speaking of which, you've managed, because this is something else that's really cool, like the sourcing of what goes into your products,
Mhm.
ethical, healthy, very local, very economic development focused and community development focused. And yet you've been able to keep your products at an affordable price point. So talk a little bit about how you've balanced that, because those seem, at least as we're taught in business schools, those seem very counterintuitive.
Yeah, so it's very true. Like if I were to go buy a jug of chamomile extract, it's going to be a lot more expensive than the synthetic, not good for you option. But if I go and buy a pack of chamomile seeds and grow them up and make my own chamomile extract, it's a lot cheaper than buying chamomile extract off the shelf. And I know where that chamomile came from. And then you add in the component of it's locally sourced, so I can just drive down to the farm, pick it up, hang out with some cool farmers. There's nothing better than that on a nice Georgia day, right? Hanging out with some cool farmers. And then on top of that, like I know the variety of the chamomile that I pick. So I know that not just chamomile extract is inside of my formula, but German chamomile extract is inside my formula because I grew the seeds and my team goes and helps the farmers tend to the crops and all of that. So you have that community aspect of it as well, but it is a lot cheaper than buying that synthetic ingredient at that point, and you're getting all this extra benefit. So you have to be creative. I mean, we don't source everything from the farm. Not everything is in Georgia. So there are some things that are more expensive. But if you just take a minute and breathe and think and be strategic, like most entrepreneurs are, you can find creative ways of how to get good stuff in your products while not increasing the price so astronomically. But also the good thing is too that as the times are changing, that people are a little bit more willing to spend a little bit more for something that's going to be quality, especially as we're beginning to learn that like your body and your hair products, they are food. They are food. If you have a gluten allergy and you eat something with gluten in it and you flare up, you'll see a similar flare when you put a hair product that has some gluten in it on your scalp. You'll see a similar flare. And so people are starting to really realize the health benefits and the health issues with using products that are good for you that are not good for you as well.
I'm hoping the years of putting Murray's pomade in my hair back in high school doesn't have long lasting repercussions. I don't know what's in that. Can't imagine
It's
it's
not
natural.
good. It's not great.
Well, it's really cool though. I appreciate you sharing that too, because I think there's the, especially in the B Corp space, you see it as this intentionality of, and even as we talk about, whatever our values and things of like that leadership component and that leadership role that you're taking as a CEO in being intentional with what's going into the products, where you're spending your money, who you're investing in, who you're hiring, like all these little ripple decisions are building up where, I mean, you guys have your own foundation now. If you want to talk a little bit about that as well, that's really, really unique. And most of the time you think of a foundation, it's like Patagonia. It's some company that's, hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars in
Yeah.
revenue.
Well, it has to start somewhere, right? And so we started our foundation. It was advice from my tax advisor when he saw the amount of money that we were giving away. So I think one year we had given away like $129,000, which was ridiculous. And so he encouraged me then to be a lot more strategic about how we were giving because that money can make a really big impact. So that's what encouraged me to form the foundation. I have a heart for the unhoused community, which is why we partner with Atlanta Mission and Hey Atlanta, because I was steps away from being homeless myself. When after my second dev job, the one that was going so great, the one where I became a project manager and all that jazz, they went out of business in 2008, thought they were indestructible. We were producing code in the financial industry, and so we went out of business. And it was so easy for me to get a job the last time I was there for 7 years. Like it was so easy for me to get a job there. I was a little arrogant, and I assumed that I'll get a job in a couple of weeks. Like, whatever, who would have hired this? Right. So I got my severance package and I paid off my bills, my student loans, I paid off my car. And I'm like, okay, where's this job offer? And nowhere, nowhere, nowhere. So about 6 months, and my savings was gone, the severance was gone. And I said, I am about a month away from not being able to pay my mortgage. So that never left me. And I grew up like fantastic parents, really high, upper middle class, great education, great college, whatever you want to say, really great job opportunities, and thinking if the threat of homelessness can happen to me, it can happen to anybody. So that never left me. So that's why we chose that to be like we make sure that if we get outside of homelessness, that it lines up with our EcoSlay values. But our main mission is to help the unhoused community here in the Atlanta area.
That's beautiful. Yeah, maybe that's another reason that we got introduced to each other because through those trash walks, that's what become a passion of mine because you can't be out there and meet these people and have conversations that you just avoid. You look the other way, you roll your window up, and then you're kind of standing there and they're standing next to you and whatever. Like there's no judge. I don't care. Like I was telling them, I'm not judging. I'm just
Right.
asking you, like whatever you're dealing with, like I'm just going to be human and treat you well. And so, but it's led me to the Salvation Army to meet the captain up here and to Athens area homeless shelter and some of the really cool places and things and people trying to actually do real work. So it's commendable. And as somebody who now sees it more than I used to, it's really awesome that that's your passion. And you're right. It's so, I mean, I've seen it. The people I remember 4th of July seeing a U.S. Navy sticker on the back of a truck and
Yep.
I was picking up trash on the 4th of July. I was like, I'm going to do my pay. I'm going to earn my beer. So I went for 4 hours, which anybody listening in Georgia or not in Georgia, if you've ever been outside in July in the state of Georgia, it was a grind. And I just remember standing there and just crying because I realized I got to the window. I'm about to pick up a Coca-Cola and I realized the windows are open and there's somebody sleeping in the back seat. And here you are like veteran and you're like, and that was just like, whoo. I mean, I'll change the subject now before I start to do it
Yeah.
again. But you're just like how easy it is for people to fall into that. So
So easy. I mean, it's like overnight. And if you were to stop and talk, like we talk to people when we go to Atlanta Mission and hear their stories, and it's not what the media I don't know. I guess everybody's FYP is different, but we're kind of led to believe these tragic stories of how, like, no, like a lot of these people are just like us, and we are all 1 to 2 bad decisions away from being in the same boat. You know, so like when you get that reality check, it's hard to look back and you're never the same.
Yeah, yeah, it'll change you. I also did the same thing with the severance package once, by the way. I ripped up the carpet, I redid the hardwoods, I painted the front door, and then all of a sudden I'm standing in line at the Department of Labor, filing for unemployment, and you're like, "This will be good," and you're like, $280 a
There
week.
you go. Same.
What am I supposed to do
Do
with
with
this?
this. Yes.
That's a different story for another day, but
Yeah.
that's how I ended up selling used cars for 6 months.
Okay, we're gonna have beers.
Yes, I would love to share these stories. It reminds me though when Jay was on here, and Jay had probably the all-time quote on this podcast was, "If you've never been on your flat on your back, I don't believe that you've ever seen the sun." And I was like,
I love that.
and there's a common thread. Everybody's got that story. I think everybody, and I think it's important for people to hear that though. And even going back to where we opened with your founder story of like that this journey is long and winding, and there's ups and downs, and we look at entrepreneurs, especially if you're a business person or whatever you work, you look at the CEO as this like, wow, like they're
Yeah.
like some sort of like perfect
Yeah.
person. And in reality, there's all kinds of warts along the way and bumps and bruises and regrets and mistakes and um, things that led us to be here. And we're still kind of figuring it out day by day.
Day by day. It is a daily journey. I was on a call yesterday and someone was like, "Oh, I feel like I'm talking to a celebrity." I'm like, girl, like we're still putting together and we're still putting the kids asleep at 9:30, trying to get them to eat broccoli together, trying to figure out how to squeeze in the gym, drinking our water. I mean, we're all in this together.
Yeah, no, it is. I've done it to people, and it's funny because they look at me like, dude, that was weird. Why'd you say that? And then I'll meet somebody and they're like, "Oh my God, Nathan, I'm such a big fan." You're like, "Why?"
Why? Why?
Just normal. So what advice is as we get ready to kind of close this out, and we just kind of talked about some of the lumps and things, and I don't know if you want to share like a lesson learned or just a general advice for somebody either looking to go down the entrepreneurial route. But
Mhm.
I think there's something in there where I'd love to hear kind of that like as well, like maybe something around the how do you stay true? Like, I mean, you've done it and you've been able to form a profitable business, growing team, growing customer base, while not abandoning everything that you believe in. So what advice do you have for somebody listening that's maybe just started, or maybe they're at that point of kind of at the crossroads of trying to figure out what they're doing, and are they doing it right, and did they pick the right thing? Anyway, I just gave you like 38 options to go
You
with, so
did.
drop us some wisdom.
All right, I'm gonna pick one or two. So I think my best piece of advice, this is my favorite, we'll see how it resonates with our audience, is when you are so me, like every Sunday I plan my week out. I'm still a project manager to the core. So I plan my week out, but I always plan my stuff first. So I plan my devotion, my gratitude time. I plan my breathing exercises and meditation. I plan my gardening, my yoga, my reading, my bath soaks, my gym time. I plan all of that first, and then I put work stuff in. So I think that's important because it's telling myself every day that I am a priority and that my spirituality is a priority, my health is a priority, my date nights are a priority, my kids' activities are a priority, and then work. Like I believe in the Franklin Covey big rock theory, and I think those things are the big rocks, and that the other things will get done, and you'll be a lot more focused when you're doing those things too. Like I'm a lot more focused when I've left the gym, when I'm hydrated, when I slept well, and when I'm eating well. So I believe in making myself a priority, and I think it's neurological and physiological, but I think it's symbolic as well. So there's that. Then the thing that we were talking about, the values and the conversions, like set your values and do not get swayed. Like don't look at what other brands are setting their values to be. Like your values should make your heart sing or break your heart, in my opinion. Like these are things that if you didn't have any money, what breaks your heart? What would you go after? Like those are the things that should be your values, and then make those things your conversions. So those are the two pieces of advice that I would give.
It's really the first one is I mean the second one's really brilliant too, but the first one is I'm sitting here like, oh, that's a great idea. I should try doing that because you do get swept into the day to day and the work
Yep,
needs to be done. And as soon as you open that laptop, and we've all been guilty of this,
it's over.
there's a million emails. And the more you do this, I think the better you get at realizing that like we're not, there's no patient waiting in the ER for us to perform some sort of life-saving surgery. I do B Corp consulting. You sell hair care product, like, you know what I mean? Like the work will be there.
The
Our
work
team
will be,
depends on us, but
yes. We're not
we're
saving
not
lives.
that important. There's a
No.
humility in what you just said of like, you're still more, we are that important, but we're not if we aren't really taking care of ourselves, and,
Yep.
and you're not living it if you don't value yourself.
Yep. 100%. So I do my meal prep, my salads, all that on the weekend, like all of that stuff. I make sure that all that is taken care of ahead of time. That I know what I'm making for dinner. And like I said, my yoga, my gym, breathing exercises, all of that. And then I go and plan, well, which meeting, can I do this Does Nathan deserve my time for this podcast?
I'm glad you said yes. So, because this has been one of my favorite episodes. Because again, it's even working together on the B Corp stuff is you get on this and we get a little more personal than like, okay, send me your handbook and let's do this, and what policy do you have here? This has been really amazing. I'm really grateful that I was deemed worthy of your time. One more big announcement we have to we timed this and we wanted to do it and we wanted to wait, but EcoSlay is a certified B Corporation now. How does that feel?
It was a long time coming. It was a lot of hard work, but it is so rewarding. It puts a bow or icing on the cake to all the work that we've been doing. So I'm super excited. What are we, like number 40 or something like that now?
In Georgia, we're 32, I believe.
Wow, that's unbelievable.
Yeah.
So it is an incredible honor, and it it just laminates all the work that we've been doing.
Yeah, no, it was I mean, like I said, I mean, obviously this isn't I'm wearing my Be Local Georgia hat, not my company hat, but I don't want to say they're never easy. But some are slam dunk's too strong of a word, but some are more navigable from the beginning, and it helps when you're working with a company that has a lot of these things baked into the DNA, and we're not kind of turning an ocean liner. We are just changing the course of the ship slightly. So
Exactly. Like these the things that I had to do in order to put the bow on this thing were things that we were already either doing or thinking about doing, just weren't quite doing the right way. It wasn't being documented. A lot of that stuff, like we're volunteering all the time, not tracking any of it, you know. So things like that. So it's been great because it's helping to hold us accountable and to pat ourselves on the back, like, wow, we did give X number of volunteer hours this month. Like that's pretty awesome. And we did recycle these amount of pouches this month. That's really awesome. So it's exciting.
yeah, it helps when you're working with a founder who appreciates impact metrics and KPIs and what we're calling conversions now.
Yes.
So, but anyway, I just want to say congratulations because it's a great accomplishment, and there's I think 9,500 around the world right now, and that's been through this process knows how rigorous, and if you can't prove it, you're not doing it. So it isn't easy, and it's commendable, and I hope you and your team celebrate accordingly.
Thank you very much.
Adria, thanks so much for coming on. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I'm just excited for everything that your journey has in front of you and what your team's going to accomplish. And look forward to future collaborations with you.
Awesome. Thanks so much for having me. It was a lot of fun.
Awesome. Thanks.
Well, that wraps up another edition of Be the Change Georgia. We're grateful, as always, for the opportunity to serve you with this content and grow this incredible community of purpose-driven B Corp leaders. If you haven't already, we would be grateful for you to rate this show wherever you get your podcasts by simply tapping the number of stars you think it deserves and sharing it with a friend. This helps us get the word out and continue to use our collective influence as a force for good. This podcast wouldn't be possible without the help from our production team at Chat with Leaders Media. Learn how you can launch your own podcast to grow your business at chatwithleaders.com. Thanks again for listening, and now go be a leader worth following.